TrumpWorld is catatonic over his Maga midterm failure. Biggest loser tonight. A Republican complained to Fox News, "We have a Trump problem." Oh, you think? So what's happening now, 48 hours after the election, these prominent suckasses for Donald Jesus Trump are casting blame on him, which is probably where it belongs, after this red wave failed to materialize last Tuesday. Now, granted, Republicans may still win control of the House by 1, 2, 3, 4 votes. But right now, it's currently, by no matter how you look at it, really, it's sort of a dead heat. And definitely is not going to yield that huge majority of Christian demons that the Republican Party expected to pick up and that I was insistent was going to happen. God damn, do I feel like an idiot. So the Democrats now have a good chance to hold the Senate, to hold their control of the Senate after this Trump-backed asshole, a bunch of them like Don Bolduc in New Hampshire, and Mehmet Oz in Pennsylvania failed to defeat their Democratic opponents. Doug Mastriano, that Nazi-loving fucking racist anti-Semite prick in Pennsylvania, was handed his walking papers. And Tudor Dixon, what a name, Tudor Dixon, also given the walking papers. Get the fuck out of here. So overall, as the writer at Salon put it, this appears to be one of the worst performances by a so-called out party in a midterm for many years, more like a stalemate than like the famous Republican wins of 2010 and 1994, when they successfully pushed back against an unpopular Democratic president, or for that matter, like the Democratic blue wave of 2018. And then, end quote. And then we have Trump's former White House chief of staff, this poor miserable fucker, Mick Mulvaney. And Mulvaney, who has become a bit of an apostate at this point, he compared or contrasted Trump's performance on Tuesday with that of Florida Governor Ron DeSantis. DeSantis, this fascist prick, won his re-election race by nearly 20 points over Charlie Crist after the orange vomit refused to endorse him. Talk about a kick right in your balls. How does it feel, Mr. Donald Jesus Trump? Mulvaney was on CBS News, and he said this, quote, "Between being Donald Trump and Ron DeSantis tonight, you want to be Ron DeSantis." And then Mulvaney added this, "DeSantis wins tonight and Trump is not doing very well." You know, it still sickens me that I have to say this fucker's name, Trump, ever. He's caused so much damage, so much trouble and pain and suffering. But maybe, just maybe, this wormy bastard's reign over media and politics is coming to an end. And then the former Trump White House communications director, Alyssa Griffin, you remember her? She told CNN that the Republican Party should ditch the orange fucker. This is what she said on CNN. Now, this is Trump's former communications director. She said this, quote, "If you want the Republican Party to thrive, we've got to just finally speak out and say, this man is a loser." Oh, really, Alyssa? You think? And former White House Deputy Press Secretary Sarah Matthews, she agreed that Trump was a drag on the party. Sarah said, quote, I think last night was the biggest indicator that Donald Trump should not be the Republican nominee in 2024. He cost Republicans winnable seats by boosting poor quality candidates, end quote. Why, really? And then we have Scott Jennings. He was tweeting his ass off, former Republican strategist and frequent defender of Trump. As a matter of fact, Jennings was offered a job in the Trump White House. For some reason, he didn't take it. But Scott Jennings predicted that the results of Tuesday's election bode poorly for Trump's chances to win the presidency. He tweeted this, quote, how could you look at those results tonight and conclude Trump has any chance of winning a national election in 2024? Oh, really? You think, Scott? And then this asshole down here in Atlanta, Erickson, Red State, bullshit artist Eric Erickson, another Trump defender, said that the orange vomit shoulders the blame for Republican losses. This is what this little prick Eric Erickson wrote, quote, of the $100 million Trump had, he only spent $15 million and saddled the GOP with a lot of clunker candidates. For the part of the base, however, would rather blame conspiracies than ever cast doubts on Trump. Well, hello. This guy must have waked up and had a cup of River Moon coffee. Eric Erickson, you miserable bullshit artist. Oh, and let it be added that the Republican donors, the money bags of these Christian terrorists, they took notice of what happened too. Alice Stewart at CNN said this yesterday, Wednesday, quote, big money donors are telling me tonight that they're ready to turn the page on Donald Trump. They now see he is an anchor on the party. And this is not just people who have not been supportive of Trump. These are Trump allies, end quote. Oh, God, how many people are coming out of the ether? And what did it take? It took the midterm elections. These phony, hypocritical son of a bitches, they were willing to support this Nazi fuck as long as it appeared that he was winning. And now all of a sudden, well, and according to Ben Collins at NBC News, who is one of their experts on political reporting, he said that TrumpWorld assholes like the dumpster-dwelling Steve Bannon are, quote, despondent and catatonic over what happened Tuesday. Ben said this, quote, they were looking at all these other places that did not really line up with all the polls that we're seeing in the weeks beforehand. They sort of can't believe it. They really did not have a plan. They were making fun of the Democrats' ability to get out the vote while they started to lose some of these races, end quote. And a so-called anonymous Republican source told Fox News that, quote, if it wasn't clear before, it should be now. We have a Trump problem. Oh, really? Really? And then, this is kind of interesting. This shows you how fucking filthy Rupert Murdoch is, first of all, for supporting Trump all these years. But the Fox News website published a headline calling Trump, quote, the biggest loser tonight. And then the New York Post, which is owned by Rupert Murdoch, made a big deal about DeSantis' win on his front page yesterday. And they had a picture of DeSantis, and they labeled him DeFuture. Not DeSantis, but DeFuture. Oh, how clever. Well, Trump has now presided over two disastrous midterm elections. That's according to former Obama strategist David Plouffe, who's on MSNBC. And he said he's deeply unpopular. He supported a bunch of horrible Senate candidates. Chris Hayes at MSNBC said Trump, his words, screwed his own party. Hayes added this, quote, he's unpopular. He screwed you today, screwed you. It's not the full story, but it's part of the story. And the sooner you dump him, the better it is for the Republican Party and American democracy. Full stop. And meanwhile, Trump, oh, yes, I saved the most hysterical for the end here. Trump was on his Truth Social shithole of a playground, and he accused the media of downplaying his wins. He said this, quote, 174 wins and 9 losses, a great evening. And the fake news media, together with their partner in crime, the Democrats, are doing everything possible to play it down. Amazing job by some really fantastic candidates. And then somebody pointed out those numbers are totally bogus, totally made up. And because of that, they are totally Trump. Hi, Truth Seekers. Mike Malloy here. You know, the Progressive Voices Network brings you commercial-free commentary from today's leading progressive radio hosts and pundits, like me, Mike Malloy, 24 hours a day. I'm not your typical old guy from the 80s or the 90s talk radio host, and Progressive Voices is not your typical talk radio network. It's a listener-supported nonprofit with no corporate control whatsoever over our broadcast. So hosts like me, Mike Malloy, are free to rant and scream and carry on about whatever we like. We're often controversial, but we're never boring. Weeknights, 9 p.m. in the East, 6 p.m. in the West on the Progressive Voices Network. Always progressive, always on. I'm Mike Malloy. Keep it lit.